As I see around everywhere, there is motion. Sun is moving, earth is moving, stars are moving, rivers are flowing, mountains are moving, volcanoes happening, birds are waking up, moving around looking for food, dogs are going for a walk, humans are active. There is motion everywhere. The world is full of motion. The world is full of action. So in this world of action, to go into a state of inaction is not possible, where you just would not act, where you would want to walk away from this world which is nothing but motion. Imagine if the whole world was frozen, how would the world would be without any change, without any motion? Nothing would be moving, nothing would be being born, nothing will be dying, flowers will not be blooming, grass will not be growing, trees will not be growing, everything will be static. And that's not natural. The nature means action. Nature means motion. So motion is something we should be in tune with. We should not have any objection with the motion. And obviously with the motion, some situations gonna come you will like, some situations you're gonna come across that you will not like. Our likes and dislikes objects these motions. So if we understand the basic rule of the universe, and that is of change, the change is a permanent thing. So the good things will not last long and the bad things will not last long. So what's the point in calling anything good or anything bad? Everything is transient. So to act in the world is a normal thing to do. Not to act in this world and walking away from the motion is abnormal. So action we have to do. But at the same time, once we do the action, we become the actor. Our mistake is that when we act, we are entitled to the rewards. That's what our ego says. That's why we act towards achieving the things we like, and we act to run away from the things we don't like. And we put us in the center of everything. And that's the cause of suffering. So whenever we act, we want the results of the action which are favorable to us. So we get attached to these favorable results, which not always are favorable. And the suffering comes, frustrations come, value of the action comes into the question. Why should we act? All these philosophical questions arise. And that is the cause of suffering. So the cause of suffering is not the world. The cause of suffering is our ego, which wants good things, which does not want bad things. And when it gets the bad thing, it resists the actions. When it does not get the good things, it resists the actions. All this mental conflict is because of the ego. Having ego automatically means that you will be living in conflict. And conflict is suffering, stress, anxiety, fear. So for a while, for a short time, take a break. Reflect on this universe, reflect on the world, and realize what is the source of this moving universe. Where are the birds receiving this energy? Where are the mountains receiving this energy to move? The rivers are flowing with gigantic force. Where is the energy behind that? Where is the energy behind you? If you cannot find the energy behind this moving universe, at least you can go deep within yourself and find out what is powering you. Where is that inner energy arising that ultimately helps you do the action in the world? Where is the earthworm getting its energy from? Where is the ant getting its energy from? There is some life force which is moving all the life in the universe. There is energy that is moving the non-living organisms, non-living objects also, like the moons and the galaxies and the stars and the suns and everything. So there is an unknown, invisible force operating this universe. What is the source? You may not be able to go into the details of the others, but you can definitely go within yourself. The same force is given to the ant, is the same force given to you. The external appearances may be different, but the life force behind everything is the same. It's like different bulbs are giving out different color lights, but behind all the bulbs is the same electricity that is responsible for operating all the bulbs. Behind every single creature, every single existing objects, there is some hidden force operating it. Go within, find out. The same energy that is behind your good thoughts is also behind your bad thoughts. You call them good or bad, but the force behind both the thoughts are the same, is the same. Same energy. Energy is neutral within you, the one that keeps you alive. This source of life is flowing within you and it's neutral. What is the purpose of finding this force? The purpose is very significant and very profound, because all the actions that we're doing, and as we discussed before, inaction is not acceptable, so we are forced to act. Every situation arises, we have to take a decision. We have to come to a conclusion what to do. So actions is what makes our life. So the ego, as we discussed earlier, cannot choose not to act, but when it acts, it wants the fruits of the action, and that's the action, that's the doership. But if we really go behind the scene, the whole drama of life is fueled by this life force, and this life force is neutral. And if we realize, ultimately, even our ego, our body, our identifications, everything is powered by this life force, the consciousness that's within us. And at that level, your individual identity disappears. You use your individual identity to act in the world, but the action turns into unaction. Means the action is happening, but there is no doer. The doership is built into your ego, which is part of your mind. But by transcending the mind, transcending the thoughts, transcending your identity as a human being or your name or your possessions, you go into the vast field of energy, the consciousness, which is neutral. At that point, the energy becomes the doer, not you. And all of a sudden, the action turns into unaction. Means the action is happening, but the actor is absent. That's when the shift of consciousness happens. And now you are not focusing on the results of your action, because the actor wants the rewards. The doer wants the rewards. And that's why there is frustrations. But if we start synchronizing only with the life force, which is more important than any of the things that we think we are, our name, our identity, our possessions, our connections, friends, relatives, all these things, behind all this thing, there is one single life force operating. And that is the ultimate life-giving life that is flowing within us. If we get synchronized with that, which is a much higher level of existence, then we live in peace, because we just remain in the action without expecting the results of the action. Every action that we do, we will be doing with the remembrance of the higher power, the higher level of consciousness, and the ego being only a puppet. But the puppeteer is someone else, something else. That's silence, which is within us, full of energy, full of consciousness, is the ultimate doer. If we keep that in mind, we have nothing left for ourselves. The ego dissolves. Ego is what wanted things for itself. Accumulate, hoard, run, compete, greed, all these things were functions of the ego. They dissolve. And you witness your own ego, even your own body acting without ego. And then the peace results. And the life becomes full of joy. Go within, find this field of consciousness, stay there, and observe your own body operating in the world. And renounce the fruits of the action. Have a good day.